Friday, it's 6 p.m. and Bridgetti and I are glad to say that we have internet in Wiltshire in England and in Cape Town in South Africa. Hello, Bridgetti.
Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I'm hot. I mean, we're not used to this in the UK. We're in the middle of a heat wave, which won't disappear until the end of July. And it's 31 degrees today, and we don't cope with this weather well. I know we shouldn't say anything about it. We should be grateful for it. But we want it to rain. I know it sounds strange. I know you've got rain. You could send some over here and say hello to Tish and hello to Patricia.
Hi, Tish and Patricia.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. We're celebrating as usual that it's the weekend. It's Saturday tomorrow, and where I am, it's sweltering. But where you are, Bridgetti, what's it like at the moment?
I'm cold. I'm frozen. I actually have my heater going next to me, right next to me, so I can warm up a little bit. I'm trying to warm my hands here, and I've got both a sweater and a jacket on, and I'm sitting with a blanket on my knees because that's how cold I am feeling.
Wow. Total contrast.
It really is cold. We don't have rain at the moment, but I can tell you the volumes of rain we had last week was phenomenal. So the sun is out. It has been out for the last 2 days, but it's still incredibly cold in Cape Town. So we'll have to see what the weather does in the next week. But anyway, I hope everyone else is keeping well and warm. And hello, Ed. Welcome. Nice to see you here. It's always so heartwarming to see the regular people joining us on the show, because you kind of know who's going to be there. And it's just one great big gathering every Friday. I'm really enjoying this.
It is. It's fantastic when you all come and join us and have a chat. And if you want to join us, Bridgetti and I on camera, then just type guest in the comments and you can. Now, this is total contrast to yesterday, because yesterday I got it wrong. And I had an optician's appointment at 4:00 in the afternoon for an eye test. And I got there 10 minutes early, and the eye test started 5 minutes early, but it didn't finish until 10 minutes to 5. And I was due to go live with Linda at 5:00. So I had to dash from the opticians across town to my house, and I was late. In fact, I was 11 minutes late, which of course means that Facebook says, well, if you're not bothered, we're not bothered. And the broadcast was deleted. But give Linda a due. We went live, as you know, just after that. And the Just Do It tag definitely came in there because we were determined to get the show on the road. I think it's important that you do, because I'd sent out 145 invitations.
You don't want to disappoint so many people.
True.
I have had a crazy broadcasting week, because on Wednesday, I couldn't do my show that I run in the morning, because I was doing something really exciting. I was filming about the water crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was doing on Wednesday. And yesterday I did a broadcast, and I went through the entire broadcast, not realizing. So here was a big lesson for me. Always have the Facebook page open to make sure that everything's working.
Did you not?
Because I went through the entire broadcast, and when I went back to watch the replay, there was nothing there. It was just blank. And I'm like, how did this happen? I was talking to me and myself all that time. And unfortunately, the rest of my day was booked up. I intended to redo it and just didn't find the time again. And today, what happened was, again, the first section of my broadcast was non-existent for about, I think, the first 3.5 minutes was simply blank. So, my introduction was lost. But thankfully, when I opened up Facebook, I realized what had happened. So, and I didn't end the broadcast. I thought, let me refresh. And in fact, I refreshed twice. And after the second refresh, I could come back again. And my broadcast was still there, which is one of the magic things about BLive. And I basically then, from that point, restart my broadcast and redo my introduction, because all that was lost in the first 3.5 minutes when it was completely blank. So I've had a wonderful week with tech gremlins and internet playing up. I've got 3 different internet connections, and as Murphy would have it, sometimes all 3 of them would be really, really bad. So, it's one of those things where you really have to be disciplined and not allow that to get to you, because it can, especially if you had prepared yourself mentally for a broadcast and then that happens. And you can easily say, well, I give up. I'm not doing this any longer. But you have to realize that tech happens. Tech goes wrong. It's the nature of live streaming. And don't let it get to you. Just carry on. Am I frozen or are you frozen? Okay, let me go in and check to see who's frozen, because I am not sure.
Hello. There's no sound. No sound. Refresh. Can't hear you. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, give a thumbs up. I can't hear you.
Hello, hi Peter.
I can hear you now, yeah. Bridgetti?
Peter, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you both now. I can hear you both now.
Right. Okay.
I can sit back and
good.
relax now in my chair. Hold on.
Well, if you do that, we can't see you.
All right. Okay. Hold on. Wait a minute now. I'll get some cushion. Wait a minute.
Right. Peter's gone to get some cushions, and when he gives me a thumbs up, I'll bring Peter back, and I've got my voice back. And
I wasn't sure who couldn't hear what, and I thought let me drop down and refresh in case it was me, but I couldn't hear you.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm hopefully back now. But
you are. I can hear you.
Talking about internet, you've got some good news on the way.
Yes, they are finally doing fiber in our area. We've been waiting for fiber for, I don't know, for the last 2 years in our area. And I finally got an email to say that they're busy digging the trenches. So, yay. Hopefully that will give us, give me a more stable connection. There's nothing worse than, when you put a lot of effort into preparing for a broadcast, and when you can't do your broadcast because the internet is acting up, it's very frustrating. So hopefully that'll be good news for me.
I hope so. I do hope so, because if you've got a stable signal, then all is good. Now, talking of stable signals, Peter, you had a show yesterday. Do you want to tell us how it went?
I thought it went well. The time of the day isn't great, but it was the first one, and I was quite happy with it. I don't know if you've had a look at it, have you?
I popped in and out.
Okay. It was one guy made a comment later on. He says that was something. I didn't know if he was being sarcastic, but it was actually a customer of mine, and he said, "Well, that was something," and but it got people looking, and I've put on. I think people are looking at the after show. I'll have to learn how to repurpose, and I think I got in touch with my trade magazine and let them know about it, and but I let them know about it late, so they couldn't make it, but they can watch. But it's the start. It's the start, and what I'll do is I'll boost it, and people can watch it at night and things like that. And we got one inquiry. We got somebody asking questions. So that was good, but that's not the purpose. It's just getting the name known. That's all. Just branding.
Yeah, that's true. That's something we're all trying to do. And I'm just promoting the live video, as you can see.
Right.
I'll take that off the screen now. This is subliminal advertising that stays on the screen.
Subliminal. the thing is, Bridgetti, it's taken me a year to get back to normal, and
okay.
I'm as Stephen knows, I'm cycling and everything, and getting fitter, and I've been back to eating meat, which I was off for over a year, and so I'm getting protein into my body, and I'm actually thinking better now. So I just couldn't do anything for a year. So, but I'm back.
Right.
And I've got to learn it all again.
True, but it'll come back.
Melissa asked a question there. What's happened to the Belivers group? The Belivers group is still going strong. It's almost 7,000 strong. So the group is alive and well.
Yeah, I'm just gone there now, and I'm going to post a link to it so that if you want to check it out again. But as Bridgetti said, we're only 28 people short of 7,000. So. There's a link to Belivers.
I know. I've been watching the numbers in the group. It's like slowly over the last few weeks, it's been edging towards the 7,000 mark, and I'm like, we're almost there.
Right. Well, it's time for another celebration. Now, in the Belivers group today, Jeff floated an idea, and I don't know how practical it is. He said, let's have a meetup of BLIFbot.TV users in the US. Okay, we know it's a big country, but then Adair said, well, why don't we have meetup country meetups as well. I think that's got now. This is well, there are practical difficulties, aren't there? I mean, Peter and I are 500 miles apart, so it would take something for us to actually meet up. But perhaps it could be the impetus that makes it. But you need somewhere central, Peter.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing far. I go to Birmingham every year, where Jon is, Jon Upton. But the problem is, now the location that I go to has moved to Milton Keynes, you know?
Yeah.
So if we're going to have a meetup, we'll have a meetup, and I just take a couple of days off. But it's got to have purpose, and yeah. So I mean, I'm up for it. It's just. But is there a lot of people in Britain using BLive yet?
Bridgetti, while you take the question of is a meetup a good idea, I'm just going to sort of check the country stats.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think it could be exciting. It's the only way one will grow it is if you have physical meetups. But obviously, you have to have at least a core group of people. You want to have at least, say, 10 people who are using BLive to make it viable to have a meetup, especially if you are having to travel.
Oh yeah.
You want to. It needs to be worthwhile so that you know that you're going to be meeting up with people and sharing some knowledge. And celebrating. You can't celebrate with yourself. You have to have people to celebrate with.
There is another way to do it as well. We could actually put on some sort of training where people come and we meet up, and then later on we train people, and we meet people the next day, or we meet that night. You could put on some sort of training, get local businesses to it. Something like that.
Now, I like that idea because you can actually do live demonstrations of how BLive works.
Yes.
Get people to come and see how it's done.
Yes.
And help people to see that it's not such a mammoth task to go live. Yes. And you can demonstrate what equipment you use and that you don't need a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So that would make it viable. Yes, that absolutely would make it viable.
And you could charge between us, and that pays for us to come down. And then each one become a consultant for people if they want to. If someone says, "Oh, could you help me? Could you be my facilitator? Could you know what Steven done with me? He come on my first ones." And people don't want to know the technology sometimes. They just want to get on there and do their bit, And that's where people like Steven and Jon Upton maybe can make some money as consultants.
I think it's a great way to do demonstration and training. Sort of be able to offer one-on-one training.
Yeah. So, Steven.
Right, there are currently in the Belivers group 4,200 people from the United States.
Right.
So there shouldn't be a problem getting meetups in the US going.
Mm-hmm.
No.
There are 400 in Canada.
Yeah.
And there are 370 in the UK, Peter, to answer your question directly.
Well, that's not too bad,
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I used the picture that I used in the show yesterday about the wasps, and I've now made a Facebook ad out of it, and so I'm going to make little clips using BLive TV, and I think 10 seconds, a 30-second advert using BLive, putting up different pictures during the ad and talking, and put the pictures up and speak over it, and then put it out. Just think of different methods of using it. But I hadn't done it for a while, Bridgetti, and I was going to get Jon, but I sat and figured it out myself after a while. I got my pictures in. Did you notice that, Stephen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just sat down and I cleared my head. I says, right, okay. And it was more getting your pictures from your own timeline and setting up an album. That was the bit I got stuck at. I said, right, how do I do this now? But I got there in the end. Yeah.
Good.
And it was very good.
It's the best way.
Yeah.
And now you're doing your first show back. We're looking forward to doing your second show back.
Yeah. So the first show was all about wasps, and we've got people asking questions. I'm gonna have to do a bit of marketing for it, and maybe boosting it and say, got a pest control problem, you need to get onto Aberkill. Why not join us at our weekly show? This week it's going to be rodents. Stuff like that.
There you go. Marketing's good.
Two-pronged message. One, use Aberkill pest control. Two, come to the show and ask your questions. And,
well, the more we promote it, the more people will see it, and the more. I mean, basically, what you actually want is, if you've got the recommendations, Peter, put those on as well.
What do you mean, the recommendations?
People have recommended your services?
Oh, yes.
Reviews.
Yeah. Testimonials, you mean?
That's it.
From where? Just from Facebook?
Any of your clients. Well, you can use the ones that you've currently got on Facebook, or you can outrightly ask people, what is it about my services that you would recommend?
Yeah.
Do you think my services are reasonably priced? What do you think of my customer services?
Well, I'll tell you something that did happen. We've got a thing called Grampian Face Finders, and everybody throws their hat in. Do you know anyone that does this? And then it's just ping, 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 ping. Everybody thrown in maybe their friend that does it, their friend, and somebody that knows their friend, and it just becomes one big mess. So what I done was I went on and I answered the lady's question and it gave her some advice on the same thing. No other pest controller come in and done anything. And the next thing, I got a message saying, can I book your services? And what I said, I came back and said, thank you. And then I put, engagement is the key.
No.
And that was it. I got the business.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Peter, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
That silver thing behind you, is that a light or is that your microphone?
Yes, it's a light. I'll put it on for you. Close your eyes. Zap.
No, that's not working, Peter. Well, it is working, but it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, the microphone.
Have you noticed my suntan?
I noticed. Where have you been?
Well, I've been in Aberdeen, one of the coldest places in Britain at times, and we've got sunshine. I'm open to a bike everywhere now. I actually do my business on a bicycle.
Well, I guess you've got the heat wave. Do you also have a heat wave where you are?
Yeah, we've got a fair bit of hot weather just now. In fact, I became dehydrated the other day and became ill.
Oh dear, that's not good. You need to take care of yourself.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm glad. So, what is the name of your show, Peter?
It's called The Mousy Man Show.
Ah, I like the name.
The Mousy Man Show. Come and meet the Mousy Man. And Gordon's 6'7", and I'm 5'5", and then when we finish in the future, we're going to get a picture of Gordon and I standing next to each other and say, and that's it, folk. That's the long and short of it.
Right. Okay. Now I hate to do this, Pete, but we're going to change the topic.
Yeah, on you go. Go.
Sorry. And welcome our good friend Jason. Hello, Jason. Nice to see you.
You too. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, all good. Right now, usually there's a comment that triggers your entry into the show. I say hello to Joy. What caught your eye today?
Just the conversation on always with me. It's the mindset of, do you worry about or not worry about the technical stuff? And I'm seeing that some people have a struggle getting online currently right now. It seems like this week seems to be. I'm just spotting a lot of people just struggling with it, and I don't know, that to me, that interests me because I want to help people not struggle and learn a little bit of some basic stuff that people may not know of or hadn't been explained. So yeah, that's what kind of caught my eye.
Now you just started a series on that very topic, have you not? Yeah.
I noticed a lot of people were doing, this jewelry selling online on their Facebook and stuff like that, the products. And I wanted to help them, with lighting that's around the home, that's around the house, to where I don't believe you need to spend money, just use what you have. But if you know how to use it to your advantage, you can get a little more out of it. And so that's what I was trying to show. That, even for some of my productions, and I'm not trying to boast by any means, but some of my higher end productions, people would be surprised if they were on set with me, realizing what I'm using to pull off a shot. And that's just kind of common to the production side of things. People that are in the industry of what I do, we're used to grabbing, some, what's the word? Curtains, some shears, transparent cloth, throwing that over a light, knowing how to diffuse and bounce light, using Christmas lights, whatever, to pull off a shot. And that's kind of common for us, but people feel like they have to buy expensive and over the top equipment to experiment and to enjoy what they're producing and creating the content they're creating. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need to do that. That can come later, way later. But you can experiment and enjoy and have fun with trying to produce different angles and different lighting and stuff like that.
Enjoying what you're being live is part of the secret, isn't it, Bridgetti?
Oh yes, I definitely agree with that.
Right, and just to answer Joy's question before we come back. Be Live in 5 shows are 12 p.m. Eastern Monday through Thursday and 1 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, because it's the weekend in the UK and in South Africa. And this is Bridgetti and I winding down for the weekend, and we're grateful to be joined by Jason. Okay, so now I may have. Did you hear me talk about the World Cup, Bridgetti?
No, I didn't.
Well, in that case, my microphone must have been off. One of the penalties. Oh, see what I did there? One of the penalties of live broadcasting. It is the World Cup, which is taking place in Moscow at the moment. Either of you watching any of it? Not that you have to. No, right? Okay. It's a big thing in Europe and in Moscow at the moment. 32 teams start the competition after 2 years of qualifying. And we're now down to the final 8. So it's the round of 8, or the quarterfinals. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, England will be playing Sweden for a place in the semi-finals. Now, the last time this happened is in 1966.
Wow.
So we are... England is awaits and expects great things tomorrow of our national team. When they went to the World Cup in Moscow, we didn't think they stood a chance, but they fought their way through, and 2 games, and they're in the final. So good wishes to all the English team, and have a good day tomorrow. I know I'll be watching or listening or certainly be involved. So good luck in the World Cup tomorrow to England, and we welcome back, this time on his phone, Peter Stewart.
Do you know what? What's that chap's name?
The gentleman
the guy you left.
Peter, we have an echo.
Oh, right. I'll go and get earbuds. Be back.
Right, okay. He'll remember your name, Jason. Don't worry about it. It will get there. It's just, if I put your name up on screen at the moment, then it's Franco. But we all know you as Jason. And, right, okay. And there's a comment from John Bridgetti.
The Badger. Yes. I have adopted that name.
Yes, I have.
Right. You've adopted it?
Yes. John has coined me the Badger because of the stripe. He mentioned that one time. I thought that was hilarious.
It's this Birmingham Solihull sense of humour as we welcome 3-2 Peter. No, can anybody see Peter?
No, can't see him yet.
No, I don't see him. Just real quick, while you're trying to get Peter on, John, I hope things are going well. I haven't caught the morning show. Well, morning for me. I'm blabbing for Britain, so I hope he's doing much better.
Yeah, John. He's still in pain. Shingles is not something. He's John's saying Peter is frozen. Yeah. So I think, John can pop on if you want, if you're free, John. Might as well have 3/4 of Blubbing for Britain here, and I'll duck down. But I think he's recovering. I mean, it's a week on since he told us. So he spoke to us yesterday and said it was still very painful, and hope the recovery continues. Right. Okay. Now persistence is the thing. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Jason, can you share with us 1 or 2 tips when it comes to going live?
When it comes to going live, my whole thing right now is to really develop your look. Because my thought on it is, if someone's scrolling through Facebook or whatever social media platform you're streaming on, if you have something unique to you that can catch an eye or build your brand, that to me, that's beneficial. For example, Bridgetti, when I see that red chair and I see the red pop off the screen for you, I immediately know. I don't even have to read it. I know it's you because to me, that's like an identifier with you and your brand, which I think is really, really good to have that consistency.
It's gone quiet.
Yeah, I believe she's a little frozen.
Okay, I'm going to try.
I'm going to refresh.
Okay, and I'll bring Peter back. But I think Peter.
Hello.
There you are.
We have a big echo.
Oh, this phone's doing my right. I've got these bones in, but now hold on, wait a minute. Just bear with. I'm very interested in this because I've got a problem with my show with my background, you see, and I'm wanting to learn about that. Just trying to get these things working with the phone.
Right, testing one. No,
hold on, I'm putting them on.
Usually when you plug in, disconnect the audio from the external speaker. So hopefully that's all it is. Maybe just pushing it all the way in.
Yeah. Can you try that, Peter? Can you try reconnecting your headphones? If you can say that again, please, Jason?
John, I love your commentary.
Right, and John's saying Steven's identifier must be a chess set. It is.
You know what? I've always wanted to say it. I'm glad John brought it up. I wish, because I love the way it looks in the shot. I wish it was like maybe a foot higher with that light on it. I don't know. It's just it kind of goes with you, because you're constantly taking the next move on how you.
That's a good one. Thank you. Appreciate that. Right, I'll see what I can do about the chess set. Peter's seeing what he can do about his Echo, and Echo and the Bunnyman, very droll. John, very droll. It must be Friday. And he can't join us today because he's going out shortly. Friday night is fish and chip night, and that's tradition. We'll be doing the same. We're going out and collecting fish and chips. Do you have any fish and chip shops in your area, Jason?
I have to ask, what is fish and chips?
That's a good question. That's an excellent question.
It's very, very confusing over here in the States.
It's basically it's a British tradition to cook fish, and
right.
Just before I start this explanation, Peter might be able to help me with it. Yes.
How, is that better?
Yes.
That's a lot better. Okay. Now, before you ask your question of Jason, quite happy with that. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to explain to Jason what fish and chips is. So, tradition is that on Friday we go to the fish and chip shop Friday evening, fish on Friday, but the tradition is that the fish is actually coated in batter, and it then comes along with a large side plate of chips with salt and vinegar on.
So are the chips like floppy, circular, like thin chips, or is it fries? Because over here in the States, people get that mixed up. It's
real chips, wouldn't you say, Peter?
Yeah, they're chunky chips. They're not that French fry things that you wouldn't put on weight with them. It's real chunky chips. And let me tell you, I'm in the city of the fish and chips. We've got a fish and chip shops that won Best Fish and Chip Shop 9 years in a row, and they retired to let somebody else win.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
Aberdeen.
Indeed. Fresh
See, over
fish.
here, some restaurants will say fish and chips is basically fish and fries. And it's not really a thick chip.
Yeah.
I blame McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's McDonald's that introduced the UK to chips that are not chips.
Yeah. With their dextrose on the chips. Dextrose, which is...
Yeah, I mean, when my sons were young, just to tell the story, we used to go out into the country at the weekend, drive in the country, and the boys were okay, providing that on the way back we stopped off at a McDonald's and got burger and chips and a Coke, and they were happy then. Yeah, but they had to have the burger, chips, and Coke. They don't do that now, but they did then. And John's just posted a wiki link to explain fish and chips.
That's good.
And Jason,
yes,
we used to eat fish and chips out of old newspapers. They would put the chips in the old newspapers, wrap them up, and take them home, and you would eat them from the newspaper. But then hygiene laws came in.
So, but it's mainly just oil and vinegar, never any other kind of sauce, like a mayonnaise base or anything like that?
Oh, we've gone continental. We've got mayo, we've got tomato, ketchup,
HP brown sauce. Lovely jubbly. Yeah. Mushy peas.
Mushy peas. Bridgetti, we're talking about fish and chips.
Yeah.
And the British delicacy, which we're sort of trying to explain to Jason. John's put a wiki link. We should probably have a photograph as well, which speaks 1,000 words. So we've got to ask you the question, fish and chips in Cape Town.
Yes, we do have fish and chips in Cape Town. In fact, we've got a slang. We call them slap chips, which is like sloppy chips. The big pieces of potato chips that are really, really sloppy. Those are very, very famous here.
And John's explaining real chips are 1/2 inch thick and cooked in beef fat. Only Belgians dip their chips in mayo.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's true. Germans do as well.
The Germans have got a less thick chip, but they have mayo. They say, because I lived in Germany, so Pommes mit Mayo bitte. Schmeckt gut, ne? Und der Currywurst. Lovely jubbly.
Now you're talking, Peter. Currywurst. Now you're talking. I mean, this is the highest of cuisine, and to have currywurst in Berlin is a special occasion. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first thing when I went back to Berlin after 25 years. I got there and I just looked for the first Schnellimbiss and I had a currywurst. And if you ever go to Berlin, there is actually a currywurst museum. Did you know that, Stephen?
Oh, wow.
No, I didn't make
a currywurst museum. And a little thing you didn't know, a man died last year or the year before, age 92. And it was him that invented the kebab. He was a Turk that went to live in Berlin. There you go.
Brilliant.
Jason, I'm going to have to watch the replay because I missed your tips there, but I did get the beginning of that conversation when you were talking about focusing on your look and feel of your show so that you brand yourself. Yeah. I really like that point. So I'll go back and watch the replay for the rest of what you said.
Yeah, definitely. And I was talking about the red that you have always on. That's like, to me, I as soon as I see your stuff, if I see that red, I immediately think as Bridgetti, she's doing her content, the red chair, the red jacket. I just think it's a good identifier for you. Okay. It connects with you with your streams, and I just think that amongst all the white noise right now, all the different content just constantly flooding in to our media channels, social media channels, to have a consistent feel or look or approach is more beneficial because people can instantly see.
That's quite interesting because yesterday Gordon and I wore jackets with our business name on it, Aberkill, and we're just waiting for new. We actually like wearing hats, Gordon and I, so we're waiting for new baseball caps with a new logo, and we're going to start the show off wearing our baseball caps.
Yeah.
So it gets noticed, and it's all about getting the logo out there, and that's what we're going to do.
Right. And I'm going to for next week's show, I'm going to sort of raise my chest set so it's more visible, or I could move to one side. Now, talking of branding, I'm just going to go full screen for a moment, just me, and hopefully you can see this, but I'm wearing a T-shirt today. And I was hoping that when I wore this T-shirt, it wouldn't show the logo. So I'm just going to stand up for a moment because it says...
Oh, nice.
Hey, yeah.
And that's a bit of a slice of broadcasting history. The thing is...
Oh, excellent.
When anybody sends me a T-shirt, I'm a bit like Robert. If I've got a collection of T-shirts from software houses who brought out software that I liked and got on well with the people, and I just said, send me a T-shirt. And a few months after they send me a T-shirt, they sort of disappear. But so I've got a collection. But the Blab days were special days. So I'm wearing it to celebrate the fact that Blab started all this round of live broadcasting.
Fantastic. Jason, the effect that you've got at the back, is that a green screen?
No, that's actually, let me see if I can.
I'll put you full screen.
Yeah, I want to know about all that. What is it?
That's actually porch screen. Like for your porch, the wire mesh. And it's crumbled up. And then when you push light on that screen, on that mesh, it'll adopt the color that you put on it.
Right.
And
very interesting, but it's very effective. Very effective.
So, Jason, are you an expert in lighting, etc.?
I don't always call myself an expert.
Before Jason answers that, Jason is an expert in creating video for corporates, where people give him an idea, and then he starts to create a story, which may or may not be based around that idea. and in the end creates a series of videos for the company which tell the company's story in their words, but in a way that appeals to an audience. How's that, Jason?
Okay.
I need to write that down.
Over to you.
That's pretty much what I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if there's any links, I would like that, because I'm going to wait to do some video with a guy that we are going to chase about all over Aberdeen, and I'm getting him to print a photograph of himself just now. He's a bit of a character. He's an Asian guy, and we're going to sit in the van and I turn to Gordon and say, Gordon, we've just been given the biggest contract ever. It's to get rid of this pest. And then we're going to chase him with big nets and everything. We're never going to get him. We're never going to catch him. But he's so well known. He runs a comedy club, and between the two of us, we're going to get known and have a laugh.
Sorry. John's just said that you can watch the replay to find out what you actually do.
Say that again.
I just read that
I
too.
thought that was hilarious.
What did he say?
He said Jason can watch the replay of the show to find out what he does. And also, whilst we're with John, if you send him a copy of the logo, PT will do some work on it for you.
Oh, cool.
Who?
John.
John.
Oh, John. Okay.
Right. And a comment from Joy, going back to our fish and chips stories. Love fish and chips and all the variety that's out there. England started it and now everyone copies it. That's a frequently heard story, but it works in reverse as well. We copy a lot of things. We've got a lot of French words and a lot of German words and a lot of Italian words in our language.
Yes.
Indeed we have. Right, I just want to give a shout out. Every year in the UK, Cancer Research have a project which is called the Race for Life, and it's aimed at women. And this weekend is the Race for Life weekend, and literally millions of ladies throughout the UK will be running 5 or 10 kilometres for charity. And 2 of those are Angelica and a daughter, Katie. So I just want to give a shout out to Angelica and Katie. I know it's going to be 29 degrees on Sunday. Drink plenty of water, finish the 10K, and then we can all go for lunch. Okay, so that's the Race for Life. It's a charity event in the UK.
Well done.
And it's a very good cause, isn't it, Peter?
Yeah. Yes, right. Race for Life. I think that'll be up here as well, is it?
Oh yeah, it's throughout Great Britain. As I say, millions.
Yeah, I think there's one in Aberdeen called the Kilt Walk, and everybody wears a kilt, and they walk up the Royal Deeside line where Queen Victoria used to take her train up to Ballater, and everybody wears a kilt and walks right up. Yeah.
Right. There's some wonderful English and Scottish traditions.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got another question for Jason.
Sure.
So the videos that you produce for companies to tell their story, do they mainly use that on their website? Do they use it on their Facebook, Instagram? What is it? What is it aimed at?
Majority of the work that I do is internal communication. Large companies that have distribution plants all over the world. They need to communicate a message quickly and, effectively. I do a lot of that kind of content for them. Safety videos, training videos, a lot of that stuff. I also do a lot of conferences. So the conference pieces go out to their social media channels, usually. The only time I ever do a video going directly for the company's website is when they're looking to do a story on what they do and what their passion is. That content usually is just geared for when a client comes to their website, they can either read what they do or see and hear what they do. It's kind of the approach to that.
Here's a question.
So it's kind of like a explainer video.
Yeah, really is. Yeah. Some people call it promo video, but that's usually a completed, holistic piece that says, this is what we do. and we don't ever talk about cost on those videos. I haven't had one video want to show cost yet. They just want it to be like I guess you could see it as like a video business card.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to look at it.
I think that's a great concept.
Can I ask a question on that? What works best, the written word or the video word?
Written or video?
Yeah. What gives the best return on investment?
I'm always going to go towards video. One is primarily my main business. I mean, I do copy and graphics and other things like that for clients, along with the full project. But to me, the most effective is video because, unfortunately, people are getting more and more lazy of reading, and so it is more of just show me what you do. The concept of how long it should be, I'm glad is slowly but surely going out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. The concept of keep it short and get to the point is really based on when we would watch commercials on a regular basis. Yes. You had to sit through that content to get back to what you wanted to see. The internet is basically click and you're away, and you go on to see what you want. So it's ideal to make that content, share your story, explain who you are, show your passion, or show what makes you different. For the people that want to see and hear more, they're going to sit there and stay and hear more. Because if long video wasn't effective, then places like Netflix, Hulu, all of them would have a terrible business plan.
I'll tell you what I found, Jason, when I've done my videos. It's the humor that in my videos that have got us known. Would you agree, Stephen?
It's definitely your sense of humour, Peter.
Yeah, it's the humour that managed it. And it wasn't scripted. It just happened one day. We put me and another guy in a van. We put up I just got a selfie stick, and the first one got 11,000 hits, and and that was quite amazing, So we'll go along the humour line. That's what we're going to do.
To me, that would be something that I would try to spot right away. You as the business owner, I would want to, really hone in on that. Now, Bridgetti, very humorous, and she cuts up and gets along with all of us too. But when I hear Bridgetti and I watch her content, it's very informative and soothing. I'm able to engage and follow along, and not necessarily looking to laugh or to cry or anything, but just to connect, just to listen to what she's doing. Yeah. Steven is a slew of different genres and approaches on all of his content. So I know when I go to Steven, I'm going to learn something that he's into at that point in time. So usually that leans more towards tech.
Yeah, he's a steady Eddie. That's what he is.
There you go.
Thank you, Jason. No, I sincerely, I just enjoy networking, and Bridgetti and I enjoy getting together on a Friday and having conversations, and that's what it's all about. And that's the magical part, is to actually listen and to talk to each other about the subjects and topics that actually interest us. Now, talking of topics, I think earlier this year, Bridgetti, 6 months ago, you had a situation in Cape Town where you had the water crisis, and you were on water rationing. And we did the video about 2-minute showers, and that was the genuine limit. How have things changed in the last 6 months?
That hasn't changed, to be honest. I mean, we've had rain now, but the restrictions are not going to be lifted. Because we had some rain, a lot of people are calling for changes and for the restrictions to be lifted. But our dams have gone, our main dam was on 13%. And our collective storage currently has just gone over 50%, so it's 52%. But the Department of Water and Sanitation are quite resolute in saying that unless we reach 85%, they are not going to relax the restrictions. So the restrictions will remain in force. So literally no change to our lives now that we've had some rain.
So it's going to be a while before things do change.
It's going to be a while. In fact, I was interviewed on a radio station just before we went live earlier, and we were talking about the effect that this has on the tourism industry. Mm-hmm. The tourism industry took a huge knock in South Africa because of the water crisis, and it was mainly because of the messaging. The local government spoke about a day zero, when we would run out of water. And the messaging around the day zero has literally kept tourists away from coming to Cape Town. Mm-hmm. And, no one was paying too much attention about that. The plan was with day zero was to drive down usage of water. But the unintended consequence of that was that it had a huge impact on the tourism industry. So now they've recoiled and they've basically said, look, we've had rain now. We will not have a day zero in 2018 or in 2019. Mm-hmm. But the restrictions will remain in place. It's going to be interesting to see now that they've ruled out the fact that we'll have day zero, that will have a positive swing on tourism, bearing in mind that nothing else changed other than them saying we will not run out of water. But the limits of what we can use every day, that has not changed. So we'll have to sit back and see.
How aggressive was the spike in cost of like a bottle of water? Was it a big spike?
Well, basically the cost of our water now has gone up by 500% roughly. That's how much more we are paying for water. And apart from the huge surcharge in the cost of water, they've now also slapped on an additional tariff for providing water. We've never had that before. So they've said if you have a 20 millimeter pipe to your home, you're now going to be paying X amount for the provision of that water. And the way they justify all of this is that previously water was volume based. So however much water you used, that was directly linked to how much you paid for water. But what happened, and again, this was the unintended consequence of the drought, is that the income of local government took a serious dive, and that was something that they had not thought about because they were driving down usage. But as they were driving down usage, the income to the local government was reducing substantially. So now they've adjusted their messaging, and they're saying it doesn't matter how much water you use, the cost of our infrastructure and the cost of providing that water to your door still remains the same. Even if we're bringing less water to your door, our cost is the same. So this is a huge mind shift for me as the end consumer, because now I'm saying I am using less water, I'm being inconvenienced, and now you're punishing me for using less water by charging me a premium rate. So that's caused a lot of unhappiness amongst Cape Townians.
It's interesting that, because although we're in the United Kingdom, in Scotland, we pay a set rate for water. We could have 10 bathtubs of water, one after the other, no problem, no further cost. But I think, Stephen, you actually get charged for water, don't you?
Yeah, we're metered.
Yeah. So in Scotland, it's absolutely free. It's a fixed rate. and we can have all the water we want. But it was interesting, when we did have a flood up in Ballater, people were actually... Has crime been a problem with water too, Bridgetti?
Yes, when the water crisis first became a use, we did have issues with theft, people stealing water, and then a lot of people invested in storage tanks, which again is a substantial investment. And they again were acts of vandalism. People would come and they would break off the tap so that they could steal the water. So yes, there has been an increase in vandalism that's directly linked to the water crisis. Yes.
Wow.
How lucky. Well, we feel, we always complain about it raining, Peter, don't we? We are lucky to live in the climate that we do, where we can have 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, you do too? We also have 4 seasons in one day.
So does Melbourne.
I got a quick question for Bridgetti.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, Jason. Yeah.
Bridgetti, do you have a podcast, audio podcast on iTunes?
I don't. Okay. I don't. I should.
Yeah, you got a good voice for that. Just wondering.
Yeah.
Actually, you're not the first person to tell me that, because I did a voiceover once or twice for someone, and they said to me, they think that this is something I should look into, but I'd never considered it.
Yep. For someone who hires voice talent quite often for my clients, I would second that.
Thank you.
There we are. A podcast.
Steven, I think we're at the top of the hour.
We are, and it's over to Bridgetti.
Well, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Jason, and thank you for those tips. Really appreciated those. Hi, Carlos. Thanks for joining us. John, thank you very much. And for everyone else, Tish, who joined us. Carlos joined us. Joy. I'm not sure if I can scroll through to see everyone else. But whoever watched this live, and if you're watching this broadcast on the replay, Peter, thank you. How could I not say thank you to Peter? How very rude of me. So everyone go and have some fish and chips for dinner. I'm looking forward to my dinner. It's not fish and chips for me tonight. I'm having tacos.
Ah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm having tacos.
We are truly international. So, Jason, Peter.
Have a great weekend. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a super weekend, everyone. And we'll see you back next week, same time, same place. Be blessed. Bye.
Bye.